What up, guys? Welcome back to the Big Screen Show. I'm Alex.
I'm Wyatt. What's up, guys? We're back to recap Bad Batch episodes 6 and 7. A lot of action in these episodes, a lot of characters that we have not seen in a minute. What are your first thoughts on this episode, Alex?
Ooh, man. What
Well,
is
we're
it?
gonna go. We're gonna go episode by episode. Let's give some structure to our viewers. We are gonna go episode by episode. So we're gonna do episode 6 first, and then we're gonna do episode 7. So, what are your thoughts on episode 6?
So, episode 6 really just kept itself on the edge with like this air of like intrigue and mystery concerning a huge assassination attempt that happened like in the opening of the episode 6, where honestly it just opens up to this whole other new type of program or something that was going on like with the Empire. But then
Mm-hmm.
also some very good character moments involving Crosshair. Since again, this is like another type of aspect from like his dark past before he came back to the squad.
Mm-hmm.
So, but honestly, this actually was a pretty great setup for what's gonna be like literally the second to last episode. Because I found out, yeah, season 3 of Bad Batch only 8 episodes, so like 6 and
I,
7 back
I
to
thought
back.
I thought it was 15. I thought it was 15 episodes.
Nope, it's 8, man.
Hold up. I gotta look this up right now. Let me look this up real quick. The
Oh,
Bad Batch
fashion.
season 3 will consist of 15 episodes. So boom, we do have 15 episodes. So for context, this is we are not going into the finale next week because man, I would have been
Oh,
so disappointed if the finale was next week because we got a lot of unanswered questions.
no. Okay, well, that is a relief. I'm so glad. Okay.
All right, yeah, big relief there. Back to episode 6. So this is no, uh, no finale next week, guys. Going back to episode 6. The episode opens up with two unlikely pairs: the former Separatist Center Avi Singh and Imperial Center Rio Chuchi, Senator Chuchi, being led to a safe house where they plan to meet up about ways to push back against the Empire, tightening the grip. I remember this senator from season 2 where
Mm-hmm.
she was getting assassinated then. So props to girl for surviving this long. Uh
Keeping the fight on.
yeah, and it's good to see her. That's when we see that Imperial assassin come in and take out Greer and nearly kills the senators. Thankfully, he's stopped by Rex and company. After being caught and unmasked, Rex groups of rogue clones discover that CX-1 is one of them and isn't the first time something like this has happened. So, pretty much, Rex and company encounter this assassin clone. These guys are pretty badass. They are with it when it comes to combat and assassination. Combat skills are kind of like a crosshair. They remind me of almost, and they take him and back to base. They remove his tooth because they got that thing in their tooth where they can click it and kill themselves.
Yeah,
So
it's supposed to
they
be like it's called an electro chip, but really it's basically just like a suicide pill, really.
yeah. So they have that where they can click it and just give up no information. And they take him back to base, and this guy has a homing chip in him. They still have ways of tracking this assassin. So, of course, another assassin is sent out to get him. As another assassin is sent out to get them, the Rex and the clones called a Bad Batch, tell them to pull up because they found Omega on the pad. So conveniently, Omega and them are pulling up while this assassin is on the way. We get to see that assassin kind of engage with them in combat, and pretty much that episode ends with
The base
the
basically getting blown up.
heavy damages to the base and them being kind of barricaded in the base from this assassin. And we see the guy in the background, Wolf, and his clone commandos pulling up at the end of the episode. Also, we do get like a couple of minor things going on, like Crosshair informs the group that some of the clones at the Tantus base remain loyal to the Empire. They were put through a horrific conditioning modification program. The ones who survived had their identities wiped and became covert Imperial assassins. So, I really like what we saw with the assassins in this episode. I really love that I don't know. I like assassins. I like
Yeah. Oh
I
yeah.
like
Me
I
too.
like these troopers that the Empire have created. I saw that Star Wars Theory had a big theory that this is Rex or Tech. I'm throwing Tech out the window off a rip. No way that this can be Tech, but he seems to maybe even think not Captain Rex. Who's the third guy? That was
Mm.
who's Anakin's
Oh, Commander Cody.
Commander Cody. Okay, cool. He thinks that it's possibly Commander Cody under the suit. I'm kind of throwing that out the window too. I kind of think it's just another one of the clones.
Yeah, that's right. Because another thing why it definitely couldn't be Tech because it shows because again, Crosshair mentioned that he was put in that program too, but it didn't work on him. Since again, he's a defective clone like the Bad Batch. So it was like if Tech was still alive, there's no way it would have worked on him.
I thought it was really interesting that the clone commando, when he saw Crosshair, how his eyes kind of lit up, and he even had some dialogue with Crosshair and tried to create some pressure, create some tension within the group, acting like kind of like Crosshair still on the Empire side, like you're one of us, man. So I love that. I love that aspect. I love that little detail that they put in there. They're really taking good care of the Bad Batch season 3. I think the best thing Disney does is with their animation series.
Thank you, Dave Filoni, because again, he helped basically create this series here. So again, thank you
Yeah,
for him.
yeah, thank you, Dave. And they are really paying attention to detail and giving the Bad Batch their due diligence for their last season here. Like we said, we have episode 6 ending with the Batch and some of the clone troopers in hiding inside this fortress. I really thought the fortress was cool, how it's kind of up on the top of that mountain and now they're going down through it. I thought that was really cool. I love these aspects and these different locations that they're bringing to Star Wars because I that's one thing in the movies that we don't get to see. We don't get to see a bunch of different Star Wars locations, and the galaxy is vast. Like it's vast, yo. So I love the animated series, and I love the Bad Batch just going on certain missions on different planets and getting to see different planets throughout all of these seasons.
Yeah,
Going,
because
yeah,
honestly, for real, I really love how it basically just goes like real boots on the ground, just go say more like the dark underbelly side and like secret programs and initiatives that goes on with how the Empire everything is just changing in like the galaxy because like it's really just it really shows everything that happened. It's like the same with like the Andor series that basically shows everything down for like the oppressed people, and then it shows like the Bad Batch and like the whole Clone Wars Rebel series on everything that happens by whenever the Empire sinks its grasp into anything.
man, we get to see the ramifications of Order 66 and Order 66 being like one of the biggest events in Star Wars, like literally the genocide of all the Jedi, like like major. We did not get to see this process and we didn't get to see the after effects immediately after this process. So like I'm all ears. I'm all here, man. Like for
Yeah.
this.
Oh yeah, me too. I love this. I love this.
The next episode um we get into episode 7. Like we said, the previous episode concluded with the sniper assassin clone attempting to capture Omega. As if that were consensual enough, we also finally got to see Commander Wolf pre-chip removal, because we saw Wolf pull up at the end, and Wolf already kind of has some tension with this assassin, and this assassin is not following orders. Okay, cool. I'm pulling it up. I'd like to have this. While the Bad Batch and Rex's group of rogue clones look for a way out of their ruined base, X2 manages to rendezvous with Wolf and his squad, which consists of clone troopers, a clone commando, and TK stormtroopers. Wolf is immediately ticked off by the sight of dead clones strewn around the burning building, especially when their objective was to retrieve Omega unharmed. He attempts to pull rank on X2, who doesn't seem terribly concerned about the chain of command. As Wolf begins working on a plan to seal their target inside the building, the clone assassin goes off on his own. I loved how this started off. I loved that Wolf was sentimental when he saw the dead clones. It really brought some aspect to, hey, some of these clones do still have feelings. Some of these clones are not Order 66 gun-ho. Some of these people's chips are not working, and they're just kind of sliding by. They're just getting by. Maybe they just think they're on the good side, and they're just not in the know of what's going on, man. They're just doing their jobs and being part of this big imperial cycle. X2 finds the group before Wolf's team does and engages them. What we see here is we see the group kind of go down into the creeps of this fortress, and they're trying to get to a ship. Pretty much Wolf's team sees that they're doing this and kind of like dips down in their ship to meet up with them, where they meet up with them in the bottom, and they send a crew from the bottom of this base, and the assassins coming from the top of this base, and we have the Bad Batch in the group in the middle. I'm really loving where this is going, because the assassin's like running out doing his own thing. I love that he's rogue. He kind of reminds me of kind of like a Sith would be, or like a bounty hunter would be. Like, yo, I'm sent here to do my mission, do whatever the hell you want on your side, but I'm getting my shit done. And yeah, that's real. That's what I love, that they didn't stand down, and that we see that he's working for another force other than just the Empire. Probably Dr. Hemlock himself.
Yeah,
But
because he did create the program, and literally while I was watching these episodes back to back, you know what all these deep these deep cover clones and everything I thought about? Yeah, I thought about it is like, you remember the Matt Damon Jason Bourne movies?
man, yeah, I'm familiar.
Yeah, I'm really thinking that these shadow clone troopers here. It's basically I know it's Hemlock's program, but it's basically like it's basically like the Treadstone program in the Jason Bourne movies, but Star Wars essentially. Because think about it, they literally said that the clones are literally conditioned, like no identities, highly trained assassins in like marksmanship, combat, and it shows in episode 7 that the assassin was literally got blown up, is injured, but he's still moving on and still fighting like as if he was still in top condition. That's like,
Yes, man.
that's like Treadstone agents, Jason Bourne type stuff, man. I
Man,
love that. I basically love these two episodes back to back even more. It's basically Star Wars but Treadstone.
man, you got a huge point there, bro. I didn't even have that view of it like that. But now that you say that, man, that's exactly what they're doing with these assassin drones, and it's cool to see. It's cool to see that, man. I'm glad that we're not getting no BS
Yeah.
in this show, and that they're pulling some good stunts
Yeah, like
with
I said,
it.
because I did not think the clones could get any cooler, honestly. But they just like this show
Man,
just ups the ante every time.
real talk, you can only go so far with the clones, because like they all have the same voice, they all have the same
Same
identity.
face, same
Yeah,
face.
they already did the Bad Batch where they have some defective clones, so we know there's not any more. Like other than these guys, we have the Clone Force 99, Anakin's crew that we identify with, but other than Boba and Jango, like clones are just clones. So not clones are not just clones. I ain't gonna be like the Empire and look at them like
Yeah,
that.
yeah. The individuals, man. They own people now.
But
Come on, we're fighting for the clone rights.
it's cool to see some just some different aspects of the clones, and it's cool to see what they were doing to the clones after Order 66, because there were tons of them. What happened to all of these guys? Of course, they have some in prison. Of course, they're still using some, and I'm ready to get down to. I'm ready to get down to it because that seems to be one of the big missions in this is for the clones to free their brothers. Like we have one big storyline with Omega and her M count and following Omega storyline, but I think another big storyline with this show is the clones and fighting for their brother's freedom.
Yeah, because again, really the whole ethos here for like this whole season is pretty much like never leave a man behind. Don't leave your brother behind. Because it's really been carried over this whole entire time. Like Omega didn't leave Crosshair, Crosshair didn't leave Hunter to die. I mean, even Hauser, who basically was very standoffish and really reluctant to trust Crosshair from episode 6, after episode 7, he's like, okay, he's not the same person that I met back in season 2. Well, back in season 1, episode 2, yeah, back in season
And we
1,
even
episode
have some
12.
dialogue. We have some dialogue later in this episode where the clone troopers that knew Crosshair back in the day and even fought against Crosshair was like, "Man, what is it about the kid? Something about you has changed." So we see people being redeemed also in this
Yeah.
season, and it's just another big aspect that I love. I really love that they're coming to, with this being season 3 and this being the end of the Bad Batch. I'm really glad that they're bringing these very valuable aspects to the show, man. Redemption for Crosshair, forgiveness for others, and really bringing these down to earth, basic, essential aspects of life to this final season.
Oh yeah, for sure, man. It's beautiful stuff.
Yeah, it really is, man. I love what they're doing. It's Star Wars, but it's beautiful at the same time, and I hope it's helping really the younger generation out there. It's really some good lessons for the younger generation. I can't even imagine being a kid and getting this much Star Wars content. It would be so exciting and so fun. Like I'm ecstatic doing a podcast and shit about this now. Like if I was a kid and this was coming out, I would be like gung ho about this, man.
Yeah.
Just like I am now.
Yeah,
uh,
it actually takes me back to when I was a kid and I watched the Clone Wars series when it was airing on TV. Because I loved the original trilogy, but then I thought like you got this TV show now where before episodes 1 through 3, before episode 3, which is in between, but like I was like, yes, give me all that.
yeah, I loved Clone Wars. Super big Clone Wars fan, and another hit with the Bad Batch, big hit with Rebels. Like I love all the cartoons. They might be some of my favorite watches out of all of Star Wars, bruh. All the Star Wars shows that they've made, not the original trilogy and not the prequel trilogy. I can't I can't think of a better Star Wars series that they've made other than the animated stuff.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
the series just fleshes out everything more. You just feel like really immersed.
And they have so many episodes with it. They visit so many locations, they go to so many planets, they introduce so many different characters. There's something new about it. They're really quick and short watches. If you haven't watched Clone Wars, if you haven't watched Rebels, it's just as good as the Bad Batch. If not, maybe even better than the Bad Batch, but I ain't hating. on the Bad Batch. Don't come from me. But back to episode 7, man. The group is eventually found and engaged by Wolf's squad, leading to another fantastic action sequence. The good guys win handedly, but are still tracked by X2. That's the assassination homie. Crosshair spots him, although not quickly enough to save Nimic from being killed. After finding a good sniper position, Crosshair orders everyone to get to the extraction point while he draws X2's fire. Omega isn't a fan of this, of course, but he doesn't care. We see Crosshair get in a 1-to-1 altercation with X2 and get his ass beat.
Going straight hands, like X2 like literally almost drowned him. He was literally gonna drown him to death.
He was gonna drown him.
I was literally thinking like, oh, is Garth literally about to be dying and then self-sacrifice and stuff like that?
Man, I knew he was gonna be saved. Like in the moment that he was drowning, I knew that somebody was gonna pull up and save him. But I mean, that's exactly what happens. They pull up, they stun they stun X2, and X2 falls down the waterfall.
Yeah, but we found out later, still alive. He literally just comes out from the bottom of the water onto land, stuff like that.
Still alive though, yeah. Hauser hit him. I was trying to see who actually pulled the trigger and stunned him. Hauser then Hauser hit him with the stun, and then pulls Crosshair up, resulting in the pair exchanging respectful nod. And we see him fall down the waterfall. He is still alive though. It is because some people were like, "How is this dude still alive? He just fell down a waterfall." He does have a pretty badass suit on.
Yeah.
We know this suit can keep him alive, and we know this suit can do numbers for people as all kinds of suits do in Star Wars and a bunch of other shows. But he does have his suit. He did survive, and he is somehow still alive, so we know it's not the end.
Yeah,
Plus,
you also know who else survived from falling into a large body of water?
Who?
Jason Bourne in the Bourne Ultimatum. I'm just saying. X2 was like they wanted the Jason Bourne Treadstone agents. That's all I'm saying. Man. That's all I'm saying.
We got some Jason Bourne fans in the writing room, yo. Yeah. There's some Jason Bourne fans in the writing room for real.
I know, right? Like literally watch the Bourne trilogy, watch the Bourne movies, and just try and tell me that the whole Hemlock's program isn't Treadstone. I mean, come on.
They just brought those aspects to their animated Star Wars series. They were like, man, I love Jason Bourne so much. Let's bring this to the Bad Batch.
I know.
I like it. I like what they did.
Like really think about it. Clones are like the perfect use for it. I mean, come on, they're really trained soldiers, and then to make them increase their levels by that much into like the ultimate assassin. I mean, come on, that's like the perfect opportunity.
No, real talk. Back to it. We got Rex and Wolf explaining dialogue, because just when it appears the good guys and the Batch are going to escape, Wolf shows up with his remaining forces. After a brief standoff, he and Rex share a moment of disbelief after seeing each other again. And I have to note that we do see Wolf and Rex together in the end in Rebels. Remember, did you see Rebels? They're old in Rebels.
I didn't see the full Rebels show, but I did see clips where it actually turns out Wolf actually does end up joining Rex in the later part that joining like the Rebel team.
Yeah. So we know that they link up and they're together in the end. So they're finally seeing each other again for the first time, and they put their guns down. They're both clone troopers, and both sides put their guns down. They have some dialogue where Rex tries to explain that Wolf is on the wrong side. Something that should be plainly obvious since he's been tasked with hunting down a child in Omega. Rex also reveals that the Empire has been experimenting on clones. He then implores Wolf to join us on the fight for the right side, or at least do the right thing and let them go. After Echo's ship arrived, Wolf tells his soldiers to stand down and let everybody go. Once they depart, the clone commando asks why the squad isn't going after the enemies who have been declared traitors by the Empire, and Wolf explains that even if they are traitors, they're owed a chance at freedom as fellow clones. As Wolf just departs, X2 climbs up from the river below onto an embankment. Meanwhile, Rex points out to Hunter that Omega will never be safe unless he figures out why the Empire wants her to fight back against them. So, I don't even know why they released 2 episodes. I'm glad they did release 2 episodes because we got a super great storyline within both of these two, and we're just set up for more action going forward. I really loved the aspect of the clones both putting down their guns and having some dialogue together, and Wolf letting them go, man. It seems like Wolf is kind of like coming around, and that Wolf may even be able to turn the tide going forward, maybe even bringing him and his clone commandos to the clones and to the Bad Batch's side when it comes to the big battle on Tantus, because I would love to see Wolf's arc in the Bad Batch season 3, where we get to see his turn and how he ends up with Rex. I would love to see that story arc.
No, yeah, for sure. Again, this whole back to back episode. This like I'm honestly like you said, glad to have these back to back episodes because again, you could say episode 6 was left off on a cliffhanger thing. So I'm kind of glad they kind of continued on from that. But again, these 2 back to back episodes gave us like greater expansion into like how the clones are used, some great jungle urban warfare going on. Episode 7 against the Bad Batch and Wolf's crew. And then, of course, good character moments. Because like, even Crosshair has his own great character moments, like self-sacrifice, as you said that as we talked about in our last episode, that he's probably going to be doing. And again, he's still not 100% with his marksmanship stuff. But
we see he's lost a step. He's really lost a step.
Yeah, but at least in episode 7, he's kind of showing improvement because he's able to shoot down like an enemy ship and able to shoot out its pilot. I mean, it wasn't like one shot, one kill type situation. It took him multiple shots, but he was still able to get it, and he was still able to hold like a pretty good shooting battle exchange with X2 the assassin. So like I think over time as he kind of gets, as like I said before, he's kind of going to maybe like psychosomatic type thing where he's just kind of repair himself. I think over time as he kind of gets more interaction with people that he's wrong, over time he might show some improvement until he finally gets that one good steady aim shot that he needs by the finale, or even within the episodes leading up to the finale.
I got a different theory. I think he's gonna have to change his style of fighting.
That's a good point.
I think he needs a different weapon. I think he needs a new weapon. I think maybe he finds a new weapon throughout this season that he uses, and then maybe like final episode he has to pick up that sniper rifle and then make that shot that you're talking about.
Yeah, it could be. I mean, because Omega got herself a new weapon in episode 6.
Yeah, we forgot to talk about that. She has a new crossbow. I'm really glad that they gave her a weapon. For the first off, I'm interested to see. It's interesting why they stuck with the crossbow vibe still instead of just giving her a blaster, but I like it. It's very original, similar to kind of the Wookiees crossbows. I love the Wookiee crossbows in the Clone Wars.
Yeah, I really think that her getting this new weapon is kind of showing her experience level as she goes on. Because with the crossbow, she didn't have any weapons expertise. Like she couldn't even like really pull the bow back hard enough. She had to build up some strength. So I think her getting her different weapons is like I think sooner or later she's gonna probably. I mean, maybe by the end of by the finale, she might finally progress enough to where she might be able to actually have a blaster. Because again, she went from like a bow, from like literally an energy bow, a crossbow, and I think it's just gonna warm herself up to be actually getting like a blaster to find like she's completed her little soldier training arc and stuff. You know.
Nah, she needs a saber. She needs a lightsaber, man.
That'd be sick. I mean, wouldn't that be
Yeah.
something if it turns out how like she has the potential to be a Jedi? It just also explains like her like M count, how her M count could be like a good match for like the Emperor. Wouldn't that be something?
Man, and I don't know what Omega's fate is going to be. She could possibly be a Jedi, but I have a big theory that I want to share kind of at the end of this video, which is where we're getting to. Pretty much just to recap that, we have this ship pull off, and we're on to the next. I don't really know what they're gonna go. One note that I want to make is that Rex's clone force was pretty weak. This assassin came in and really messed his fortress and messed his clone force up. Their security was not up to task. Let's say that. But other than that, it's great that we saw mostly everybody, get out of there. There was a lot of casualties, to be honest, and
Yeah.
Rex is kind of like in a predicament now where he's lost his force. They got to go find a new force. I don't know where they go from here. What any theories on where they go next?
Honestly, honestly at this point, I honestly don't really know. At this point, they're probably just gonna have to be hanging out with the batch or something for now, and maybe just find a place to like lay low and try and see if they get some recruitment or like something like that. Since
What
they're still
planet?
trying. I
What
don't
planet do they
know.
go to? Do they go back to Fat Mace Windu's planet? I I don't think so. Man, what if they do go back to Fat Mason who's playing and that assassin follows them there and then tells the Empire and then everybody there dies? Man, that would suck.
Nah. Because like going off these past 2 seasons, they do have some allies and some connections by both Rex and also the Bad Batch from what they're doing, like just random odd jobs and bounty and stuff like that. So
hmm
maybe they'll probably call in like a favor or some type of connection to try and find something to use because they still need to find the exact
New
location of
characters.
Tantus.
Yeah, bring some new characters in. They call in a favor, they link with some new characters, and let's see where this go. I also want to see some more bounty hunters after the Bad Batch and Omega.
Yeah, I still
We
love to
got
see
we
Cad
got
Bane again.
I would love to see Cad Bane. I would like to see what would be crazy if we saw Boba Fett going after his sister and his brothers.
Oh man, oh man,
Like
a grown up Boba Fett, like
it would
just
be a
get
young
hunting.
Boba. It'd be a young Boba.
Oh,
Yeah, because it would be I'd probably like maybe like 8 to 10 years after the Clone Wars when we saw he was like really young.
mm.
So
Sure.
it would be a younger on the younger side Boba Fett that we would see in this. Uh, maybe Bosk.
Hmm. I don't
Maybe
know.
an IG unit. I want to see some firepower going after him. He said he had the whole force of the Empire behind him. Let's see it.
Yeah, because we still don't know how Asajj Ventress could play into this. Because remember when we talked about, we saw like these trailers stuff like that where she appeared in it.
Yeah,
I wonder how far she plays into this.
man, I can't wait for her introduction. I hope they introduce her soon because I want as many episodes with Asajj Ventress in it as possible. She's badass. And who's gonna
Yeah.
fight? And who's gonna fight Asajj Ventress? There has to be a power that they bring in from the light side that's gonna fight her because the Bad Batch can't take her on. Like, let's be honest.
Uh,
Like I
yeah.
like Asajj Ventress with they don't have lightsabers. They don't have nothing to combat a lightsaber at all. Like they're not gonna beat Asajj Ventress. Like no, that's not happening. So we're gonna have to see a power from the light side come in. and be that de facto, that fights of interest. Unless Omega picks up a saber at the end.
Yeah, like I said.
Yeah.
But we don't know where her story could go, honestly, at this point.
And I think her story in the end is going to go this way. She's going to die. She's going to have to sacrifice herself for the greater good. And she's going to have to sacrifice herself so that the Emperor does not get the M count and so that he cannot replicate himself and proceed with Project Necromancer. I think that's I think that's how it's going to end. Yeah.
Oh man, that'd be like one of the darkest moments that's done in Star Wars.
I hope they do it. They got to
that's
do it
the
right.
risk. Yeah,
They got to do it right.
That's very risky.
It is, man. But I mean, it's the final season. What else are they gonna do with Omega? Like, I think it would be a great send off. It would really touch the heart. It would bring some like actual like to Star Wars. Some actual like a really meaningful death to Star Wars. A character that we connected with for 3 seasons from a little girl. We're gonna need to see a lot more from her in character development with this season. I really think this season is just gonna go and just keep going. There's no really side missions anymore. It's been all pushing forward to this grand finale. I really hope the finale's an hour. Like you said, I really
it's
do.
gotta be an hour.
Yeah. They started off with an hour episode. They gotta end it with an hour episode, because remember the first episode was an hour long.
Mm-hmm.
That they ever came out with. So they got to end it the same way they started it. That's my prediction. The ending, that Omega ends with having to sacrifice herself for the greater good, and sacrificing herself so Project Necromancer can be unsuccessful, and that the Emperor can be unsuccessful in his reign. Any thoughts on how the season's going to end right now?
I can only see this thing ending on like a more hopeful, positive note, man.
Oh, you're trying to be hopeful with it.
Yeah, I'm trying to be hopeful with it, where I basically kind of see it more as like where they get a chance to like where they literally free all the trapped clones and prisoners and stuff like that, and have them break away from like most of their control planning, and then just kind of helps build more of this whole rebel resistance as it goes. That's like as far as I can go with it, because honestly, I can't even imagine that Omega dying. Cause like, she's been like the heart of like this whole entire series, and with the Bad Batch crew. Honestly, I mean, if that actually does happen, boy, I'd cry. And just imagine how like Hunter and Crosshairs will be feeling, since I mean cause like she's basically like their kid, like the daughter and like niece type situation.
I know, man. It's gonna be rough for all of us. It's gonna be rough for all of us when it happens. I'm predicting it right here, right now on the Big Screen Show. I think that's it. I think we're gonna wrap now. This has been the Big Screen Show. Make sure to like this video. Make sure to subscribe, and make sure to catch the video next week, because we'll be back next week with another Bad Batch reaction / review. I like to think of it as a reaction video, because we're going through the plot and then reacting to the things going on in the plot. But I really loved being here, really loved being on the Big Screen Show with Alex. Anything you have to say?
All I say is thank you for watching, everybody.
Yeah, thank you for watching, guys. May the Force be with you. Thank you so much.